Welcome everybody to Big Ticket. I'm your host Vick3, joined by my co-host JerryLee. JerryLee, how we doing today?
Doing good, man. Just enjoying the heat. You know what I'm saying?
Listen, you're probably one of the only ones enjoying the heat. You crazy?
It was sarcasm, brother.
Oh,
Sarcasm.
about to say, 'cause it's hot as balls outside. It's
Yeah,
ridiculous.
it's been bad, dude. It's been bad.
But listen, let's get to it, man. We are joined by one of the greatest, YouTube content creators that has anything to do with the Philadelphia Eagles. We got the GOAT, the man, the myth, the legend, Philly Mike. Let me bring my guy on through. What's good, Philly Mike? How we doing today?
Hey, we hanging in there. It's hot.
It is high. It's high.
Yo,
It's
like I said,
ridiculous.
man, it's ridiculous. But before we go on, let me just shout out everyone that's up in the chat. My guy BLSG, appreciate you for coming through. Papa Sora, thank you, my guy. My guy Dante from East Coast, Gridiron. Hey, what's good? Key in the building, appreciate you. Thank you for everything you do. Also created the intro if you like it. Shout out to Key. Um, thank you, everybody, for coming through. Eric Gallagher, Jacob, and we got Key. But let's get into it, my guy. It's been a while since you've been here, a couple of months. A lot has happened. We had the off season, we had the draft. Um, we made some good picks, we made some good moves. But recently, the Philadelphia Eagles are in the process because it hasn't been done yet, but they're in the process of signing a former Dallas Cowboy running back, uh, Quan Smith, or excuse me, Jaquan Hardy. What are your thoughts on the Eagles, on that signing?
I mean, it's a signing. He definitely beat us up in the fourth quarter of week 18. And so as he is known to be a backup for the Dallas Cowboys as a undrafted a guy that they signed in 2021, I believe.
Mhm.
Um, he's our heaviest guy at 225. We'll see what he does in camp. I'm not gonna, say that he's the savior of the running back room. Remember, I know our quarterback does a lot of running too, but we did lead the league in rushing. So I don't think you got to fix too much. But Jordan Howard was a part of that running back by committee, and he offered the bruiser mentality. We got to see. He got some contact balance in his game, a little versatile, just looking at what he did in college. But, like I said, I'm not going to hype this one up too much. There's a lot of running backs. We still got that Kennedy Brooks. We'll see where this room looks like or where this room gets to. Post training camp.
It's gonna be a
Yeah,
battle
it's
for
funny.
sure.
Oh, definitely, definitely. It's funny that you mentioned that, we need a bruiser and, contact because if you know anything about Hardy last season, if you watch Hard Knocks, he was the third string running back that lost the contact and still continued to play. We seen the moves he made. We seen, his relationship with Zeke and how he coached them up. And he was pretty good last season. He wasn't able to get on the field much, but hey, we'll see if he's able to come over here and, do some work. That's if the Eagles sign him.
True
Now,
that.
with that, go ahead.
Now I was just gonna say that I just made a video talking about that a little bit too, and it is eerie, weary. Maybe they just don't need that type of running back, but they did keep. So far, it looks like Corey Clement or Corey Cement is still in the Cowboys. So like I said, we took somebody from them, they took somebody from us. Cowboy fans on Twitter talking about how y'all need this guy for your team. No, it's a training camp body. Hey, if he makes it, he makes it, but he's only going to enhance what is already a versatile running back room.
They just
Yeah,
bad.
listen, I'm okay with that little trade there because we're gonna get someone younger who's hungrier than what Corey Clement is. We knew what he was. Hardy can possibly come in here and do some damage. That's again if he signed. But let me ask you the question though: if he is signed, do you think he can come in here and contend for the number 2 spot behind Sanders?
Shout to Philly halftime. He said that Corey Clement went to Baltimore. I didn't know that. But
I didn't
I,
either.
I, I don't think so. I think that this organization is high on Gainwell. Whether we think that Miles Sanders and Gainwell don't complement each other that much because they're both kind of that scat back. I think that they can get it done in between the tackles when asked. I mean, you saw Kenneth Gainwell go ahead and score for us in the red zone a couple times throughout this season. And week 1 against Atlanta, right up the middle. So I think that even though he's not the bruiser back, he can still do a couple things in between the tackles. Our offensive line makes it easy on any running back that's back there that's not dancing too
Right.
much. Although sometimes Sanders dancings pay off with long home run hits. We didn't see it last year, but it has paid off in the past. So I mean, it's an uphill battle to say the least. If Hardy comes in there with this, Marion Barber type mentality, who knows? And shout out to Marion Barber, RIP for sure. But the running back room is definitely up for grabs. But I do believe this organization believes in Kenny G. Not saying they don't believe in Miles Sanders. I think that 1-2 spot is kind of secure. But who knows with injuries and stuff throughout this season? Just got to keep playing.
Definitely. Now let's take the shift over to the defensive side of the ball. Early last week, we got news that Craig James was released. Let me just get your quick thoughts on that, and how do you see the rest of the cornerback room?
Well, that room is deep regardless. I mean, we got so much unknown talent there, from our guy we drafted in the 4th round, Zach McPherson, to Tay Gowan, one of your guys from UCF, right?
Yeah, Taste from UCF.
And then you just got the guys that we went out and got as well. And Kerry Vincent, we did sign 2 undrafted free agents this year, Mario Goodrich, Josh Joby. We bring in a guy like Jimmy Moreland who has experience. I think, in a perfect world, you have him come in and back up the slot position if something would happen to Maddox. But,
I like
Craig James is definitely a guy who contributed on special teams. So the corners that do make it definitely got to show that they can go ahead and get it done on special teams, where Craig James kind of made his little mark for the Philadelphia Eagles.
Yeah, sure. Definitely. I mean, that was his niche. That was, where we got him. He was working his way up, but there was a lot of talent around, and especially when this offseason we went out and signed James Bradberry. Now, let me get your thoughts on Bradberry, because he had some trouble in New York, but he also had some good play. He was let go. They couldn't afford him. We gained from that. We got a good deal from him. But let me get your thoughts on James Bradberry and what he can bring to the Eagles.
I think he's been slept on over these last 2 years.
Yes.
Although he's got beaten in certain, scheme fits, and he got, you could look at the CeeDee Lamb got a big touchdown on him and all that. There's not a DB in this league that don't get beat. You're playing multiple snaps. Right. It's a position where you're on the field. You're not taking snaps off like some of the heavier defensive linemen. You're on the field as long as you're healthy, right? The way defensive coordinators use, blitz packages, cornerback is probably one of the hardest positions to play on the defensive side of the ball, especially with all the rule changes. But however you want to view him, he still was a top 10 or top 5 guy when it comes to forced incompletions plus interceptions in the last 2 years. And where has he been the last 2 years? With the New York Giants, supposedly not playing good. So prior to that, he made the Pro Bowl. So I don't want to just, shout out his Pro Bowl season in 2019 with the Carolina Panthers, but even with a bad team such as the New York Giants, he's still been able to, disrupt at a pretty high level. And now he becomes the 2. So the talent he sees should be lesser. He might get more targets his way, though. But I think he'll make the most of it. I think he's excited. He wants a contract. He is on a 1-year deal. And people were talking about, last time I heard somebody mention Bradberry on Twitter and some streams where Cowboy fans get a little too excited. He talking about he's 30 years old. He's only 28. So a great season, or a quality season for him at the CB2 spot next to Darius Slay can get him a nice extension to 2 or 3 years. Darius Slay just made a Pro Bowl at 31. He's 31 or 30, something like that, right?
Yeah. 31.
So you got a Pro Bowl player in Slay. You got a guy who got 3 years until he gets to Slay's age. Play good now, get a 2 or 3 year extension, and then you got your cornerback room for the next year or two. You still got to get some depth in there. And that's where I think maybe the next couple drafts could be. Or can we get a Tay Gowan, a Zach McPherson, a Mario Goodrich to show that, I'll play a couple snaps here and there in dime packages, here and there, to give some rest to one of these guys, or if they get nicked up for a quarter or two. And so we can feel comfortable grooming one of these guys, because we got a boatload of guys to groom. And I think between who we have on the roster and what we're going to be doing in the next couple drafts, that position has to get found for the future, not just the here and now, but for the future.
Definitely. And like you said, we have a lot of guys in that room. Last season, we went out, we got Tay Gowan. We drafted McPherson. We also went out and got Vincent Jr. Now, when you think of the trio that we have focused, projected as our starters, let me ask you the question. Who do you see making the cut at cornerback?
I think they're going to keep a lot. I think they keep a lot. I think they're going to keep at least, like, when it comes to DBs, probably 6 or 7 automatically, maybe even a little bit more, because what you can do with special team. I know a lot of corners and linebackers and safeties, they can be the ones that go play that. You can always keep them, stash some of these guys on a practice squad or whatnot. But I
that's what I
think
was gonna
that'll be a
say, too.
position. Yeah, that would definitely be a position I think they keep a lot. If I had to guess right now, somebody who's not being talked about, I think you have a better chance of letting go a guy like Kerry Vincent Jr.
Yeah.
Probably one of the guys I would let go first. Who knows? Maybe one of these undrafted guys in Josh Jobe, Mario Goodrich. I'm not sure who would be, because I got to see them play in this system. I think Goodrich fits the system that Gannon wants to run more than a Josh Jobe. I know a lot of people like his physicality and whatnot. I'm not saying that Goodrich ain't physical. They will be my 2 guys only because you traded for Tay Gowan and in the Zach Ertz package and whatnot.
You want him to work.
Exactly. You want him to work. So, and you do give something up for Vincent, but nothing that you can't recover from. And then you still went ahead and drafted 200 undrafted rookie free agents. So how confident are you in him or not? I think everybody else has reasons to be here. So it's going to be hard, but I think they're going to be deep there because of the passing league and what teams want to do and what we got to find. Why not if you're going to keep a spot youthfully, keep it behind the 30-year-olds and the 28-year-olds now that can hide their problems until they do become something, if they ever are going to be.
And the older guys, they're going to teach the younger guys, the longer they sit, you know what I mean? So they're going to be valuable later.
Yeah, and like you said, we mentioned Gower. He's one of those young guys that are out there working.
That's your favorite out of all the young boys.
Yeah. He's my favorite
he really is. And right now it kind of seems like the way everything's stacked, he may not be able to get a shot because of what's in front of him. But at the same time, you never know. And I don't wish this on anyone, but you never know what could happen at any given Sunday. There might be a time where he's forced to step up, and that be where he can prove himself. And again, you also have to think about this training camp. He's been doing a lot of work in the offseason. We got to see what he can bring in the training camp. But before we go forward, let me just shout out everyone in the chat. Appreciate y'all for coming through. If you can, please hit that subscribe button, throw a comment if you can. It helps everyone out. Go to JerryLee's channel also. My guy's trying to build something. So if you could, please go out there and hit that subscribe button. We'd really appreciate it. Thank you.
There it is. Somebody just subscribed. I'm just kidding.
There you go.
I gotta turn this damn thing off.
It's all good.
But in the news, it's been talked about a lot. I know you've talked about it. I know pretty much everyone's talked about it, but it's still a possibility out there. So let me get your thoughts. What are the possibilities? Because we do have some issues in the backfield. Some may say we don't. Some say do. But what are your thoughts on the possibility of us going out and getting Jesse Bates?
I mean, I'll never say no to a guy of his caliber. It's just what is the price? I actually like the signing of Jaquiski Tart. I think that you can get some high level play from him. Is he Jesse Bates? No, but I think between him, Harris, and Epps, you got, and even Kevon Wallace, you got a rotation where that the 2 people that win these spots, I think I'll be able to feel comfortable with, whether it's Tart and Epps and Harris and Tart. It's just one guy is pushing the other guy that is kind of unknown. You're getting more of a known because he beat that guy and he showed how he did it. It's the asking price. You know what I mean? I wouldn't want to give a first round pick yet, although I am a believer of Jalen Hurts. We didn't hedge this bet for no reason. With that being said, to go out and make moves now on a safety, to realize that, Epps does get playing time for a strange reason, maybe an injury or two, and he's everything we wanted and all that. I think that this team has been built with a lot of good moves, 1-year additions, some older guys, some young guys, and we have the roster to compete now and later. But we also got to remember there's a later too. We can't put all the eggs in the basket now to where this team is missing something glaring, whether it is Jalen Hurts not being able to take us in the game to the next level, whether it is the defensive line is not getting pressure and we need to get more there, or we get an injury in the secondary and we need to make a trade for another corner because none of our guys are proven. I think that we came a long way this offseason, and I'm ready to just go in as we are now with the $8 million in salary cap, with all the draft capital we have for next year, and assess as we go.
That's a better idea. And then wait till before the trading ends and all that.
Yeah, I mean, look, we've gotten Golden Tate at the trade deadline. We've gotten G.O.A.T at the trade deadline. We've been a team that can see a deficiency in a position and go ahead and do that. So who knows where the Bates saga is at that time? Who knows how we are playing at this time? But I think that's something you can keep in your head and keep tucked. But I think that I'm ready to rock with who we got, barring anything strange happening.
I'm definitely with you on that, Mike.
Well, I definitely agree that you have to keep your mind open, and if it works, if the money's right, then by all means, I'm always there for open competition. Whoever's the best man, whether they're on this team or not, if they're gonna provide more than what someone else can on this team, then by all means, I think that's a move we have.
So would you do a first round pick?
Well, I don't know if that's what they're asking for. I think the highest they asked for was a second, if I'm not mistaken.
Yeah, if you're talking about a second in a player, then I don't even blink. I don't even blink. But when it comes to the first round, I wouldn't be able to do that. Not saying that if Jalen Hurts don't pan out, that next year you're not getting a corner with the first or a safety or something like that. You might. I just got to make sure that we are full steam ahead on the things we believe we are good at.
Yeah, definitely. We got to make sure
getting quarterbacks.
We got to think about. We have to think about Jalen Hurts and his contract. We also have to think about running backs with Miles Sanders. There's a lot to go forward, so we can't just throw money around. Again, if it makes sense, then I would say by all means do it. But speaking of the other side of that coin, we're talking about Marcus Epps. Now, let me ask you. You said you were fine going into the season. How we are? How confident are you in Marcus Epps?
I believe come week 1, he's one of the starting guys out there. When we first got Tart, my initial spin was, watch, it might be Tart and Epps out there come week 1. People think that because we brought Anthony Harris back, he has to get a starting position. He's the same 1-year deal that Tart is. So when you sign a guy on a 1-year deal, yes, it could be a quick band-aid for that position, but it also could be a depth piece. I don't think that there's any safety on this team that just is written in stone starter. Like he don't got Ronnie McLeod's pull in his organization. He's only been here going on his second year. He played better at the end of 2021, but I think that is for as much as Anthony Harris got the 1-year deal, who looks like he got the shoe in to possibly be one of the safeties. I think that the organization believes in Epps. I think the organization is going to push Kavon Wallace because we've seen him before injuries get the early nod. Even before Marcus Epps, they were trying to get him out there week 1, week 2 of like the last season prior to the injury. I think he got hurt in the Niners game, playing in that game. So I think they're going to try to push all of them, but I do believe in Epps. He was our highest graded safety in the small sample size we've seen from him. I think he can move around a little bit, fly, not afraid to hit, and he can cover pretty good too. So I'm looking for Epps to take the jump.
He got a couple interceptions last year, didn't he?
I know he had one at least.
Had one. Yeah. But he made some good plays. And this is the one thing people need to understand. Like a lot of people think that I hate on Epps. My thing is I'm perfectly fine with Epps. But my thing is it's kind of like I see them treating the safety position this year the same way they did with the linebacker position. They're okay with it. And usually when that happens, it doesn't work out. Let's be honest. It's never worked out. So that's my only issue with that. I would like to bring in some competition. If they feel that they're fine, I can't speak. I'm not the GM. I'm not Howie Roseman. I can't make those decisions.
Let me just say this though. Anthony Harris was a long-time starter. He had that one really good year at Minnesota where he had like 7 interceptions, led the league in interceptions. So from that season, the Minnesota Vikings franchise tagged him and he was getting paid good money. And after that, he had a downish season, but so did the whole Minnesota Vikings defense. And then we got him. What I'm trying to say is Anthony Harris playmaking safety? No, but he's a quality starting safety that if he wasn't with the Eagles, he'll probably be starting or a piece to some other team, which he showed with the Vikings. And same with Jaquiski Tartt. Say what you want about dropping the interception in the Super Bowl or in the NFC Championship game and blah, blah. When he was healthy, he was the Niners starter for multiple seasons. And while he was a starter for the Niners, they've always been a top 10 defense. So that being said, he knows how to get it done too. So you got guys who've been around the league, not like, all right, Eric Wilson, when we got him at the linebacker, had one good year. That's it. Like, say what you want about Harris and Tartt. They've been starting in the NFL for multiple seasons. And remember, Eric Wilson only came in because of an injury, and he played good in the absence of an injury. And then when we tried to get him for a full season, he was a straight bust. So you got two guys that played starting caliber safety minutes for two different organizations, so I'm okay with it. The linebacker position, we really are piecing up. Like Alex Singleton, a USFL guy. This guy only played good for 6 games. TJ Edwards, undrafted, this, that, So I think that, say what you want. And I know you look at Marcus Epps, he's been a backup for so long, and he's been an undrafted free agent. We're like, he's not, oh man, Epps is in. But low key, every time I said, oh man, Epps is in, is he still in? I didn't even have to worry about him because he hasn't been showing the lax and being beat downfield and whatnot. So, I'm ready to give Epps a try. I think Epps looks like a new man to me now.
Right.
Gotta give him a nickname.
Well, I will say this, last season in training camp, during that Pittsburgh Steelers game, Epps was a star. We had issues with Mullins, and we had Nick Mullins, he was stinking up that whole night. But Marcus Epps was out there shining. And, the time that he did get to play, he did play very well. Again, like I said, I'm just a person who loves competition. If there's someone that's out there that you think is better and we can make it work, then bring them in.
Yeah, and like you said, when our defenses are good, right? My whole life, I know about getting at the passer, getting at the quarterback. I don't really know the Eagles without having a dominant defensive line. I also know the Eagles a lot of times when we have great safety play. That middle time of after Dawkins to Malcolm Jenkins, there was some dark, the Nate Allens, the blah 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 blah. I can't think of any off the top. Well, who was the?
We had Jordan Poyer for a little bit, but we let him go.
Yeah, but who was the other guy?
I want to say I remember the dude that went to Carolina, but I forgot his name. That he was with us for a minute. He was our starting safety for like 2 straight seasons, and he went to Carolina, but I just can't remember his name. Chat, you know who I'm talking about? Throw it up there.
Well, we had a decent amount of Eric. No, that Eric Allen was.
Eric Allen went to the Raiders.
I'm talking about between Dawkins and Jenkins, but bad safety play. It's an important position to me. I think that it could be covered up if you got great defensive backs and whatnot. But I think that our our safety position is not as bad as people think, because if you just look at Tart got let go because of the movement of what the Niners were doing, but you got a guy in Harrison Tart who are not going to say, they're not going to honey badger it for you, they're not going to Darwin, who's that guy from the Titans?
They're not elite, they're good.
Yeah, they're good. They're good.
They're serviceable. Yeah. That's what we'll say.
Right. They're serviceable. Right.
Yes, but also when you have a pass rush, a serviceable secondary or
is
serviceable safety group can look really good. We saw what Mills and Ronald Darby at the corner positions did for us when
you'll
we were
get some
able to
fly
get 50,
balls out there.
Sacks, yeah.
You get some fly balls out there for sure.
Yeah,
it's the attack too.
Now, also on the defensive side of the ball, the Eagles, they were doing their homework this offseason. We said that for years. Our biggest issue was the linebacking core. We needed to get sturdier with the linebackers. We needed to get faster, stronger, better. And, Howie Roseman did what he had to do to do that. And he went out and he signed Kaiser White, former safety, now linebacker, former player of the San Diego Chargers or LA Chargers. Jesus. I'm going through all of them. But what do you think White brings to the team?
I think he brings a versatility, a guy who, a lot of people look at him right away to be a guy who can help via the pass. But I think he was able to show last year some good downfield tackling, downfield reading against a run, whether it's outside, inside. I just think he's a guy who can be on the field as much as we need him to. There are going to be packages where you pull Kaiser White off maybe and put a TJ Edwards in and some base 4-3. I think that when it's all said and done, that Nakobe Dean is going to be the guy that we always leave out there. I hope he's the guy that we always leave out there. But I'm very curious to see how this linebacker group in general looks, the old versus new. And when I say old, I mean the guys who's been on the rosters. Because look at Davion Taylor. I feel like he only played 3 games, but he's been here now going on 3 years. This will be his 3rd year. So I think the TJ Edwards and Davion Taylors, who I don't think are going to just lay down, versus the Kaiser Whites and Nakobe Deans. But Kaiser White is a player that I think that the Chargers would love to keep. They just, for some reason, couldn't get it done.
Yeah.
What were you saying?
Yeah, they couldn't get it. Yeah, no. I don't know if they could afford it or not.
Well, yeah, I mean, when you look at the $5 million deal, I think that they just, didn't realize it would be that little of a asking price for him because of what he was able to do for the Chargers last year. But they got caught up in the whole, oh, we're getting Khalil Mack, let's take on that salary. Oh, let's go out and outbid everybody for J.C. Jackson, and they kind of let him slip through the cracks. He has the opportunity to be very, very good. I'm not going to try to toot his horn to where like we got a Pro Bowl linebacker, but I do think that this is essentially his prime. He's about to show what he can do next 3 to 4 years. And again, because we got him on a 1-year deal, he knows that if he wants to be Eagle in the future, this has got to he got to be more than just a starter for us to lock him in. But I do low key. I mean, we hear all the additions, and that's one of the guys who go under the radar, and he might be a very, very high quality signing when this is all said and done.
I think the Chargers backfield got lessened because we got him. To be honest with you, I mean, I think he's a really talented piece.
Yeah, and we all heard, the stories how Chargers fans and, the organization themselves thought that they overplayed their hand with White. They should have re-signed him. They were second guessing now. Like you said, they had their eyes set for Khalil Mack, and they just let, everything else go by the wayside. We benefited from that. Hopefully, we were able to sign him and White can, perform well this season. But, like it's been said, a lot of people see him as the best linebacker on the core. But one linebacker that hasn't been discussed much is Davion Taylor. Do you think that he may have the opportunity to get on the field with all the talent that we do have now at linebacker?
I think it's going to be an uphill battle now for the simple fact that his time to show was rookie and last year. He'll get opportunities. I think it's going to be less opportunities. He's going to have to make the most of them. Another injury could really put the damper on his Philadelphia Eagle career, especially if the injury results into multiple games missed and then multiple games where we get to see Nakobe Dean and Kaiser White show who they could be. Sometimes you miss your window. And I think Davion Taylor, for the games that he's played healthy after year one, I'm talking about last year, I said, wow, this kid could be a little piece. We could use him here, there, and I was gonna say everywhere, but I didn't want we could use him a couple spots, but he got to stay on the field. I mean, he's quick and he's a quick learner. He just was behind the 8 ball for the simple fact that his family's religion really capped him out. He didn't get to play football much. He told that story on the channel after his first year and how far behind, play calling and just learning simple ways to shed blocks. Like the guy's a freak of an athlete with his build and his speed, but he really one of his biggest things going into year 2 was he simply said on my channel, he was like, it's probably going to sound dumb, but just how to set certain blocks. Because in Colorado, I played on the outside, so I only did this. And I was, and then he told the whole story. And so he was just really far beyond. He really raw as a player. But when he started to get that good training and feel comfortable, the speed showed, that 4.3 speed showed.
Yeah, I think that was one of the reasons why the Eagles liked him so much because, he was away from football for some time. And he caught on, fairly quickly. And, they did have a lot of promise for him. And unfortunately, due to injury and the signings, yeah, like you said, it's going to be an uphill battle for him. But let's try to focus on something better, some brighter things, some happy times. Like tomorrow is the start of training camp. How are we feeling about this, my guy?
I'm excited. I mean, every year I feel like I say it, and I feel like it takes a little bit longer for the season to get back to us. And so now that it's right there, and I said the same thing on my video, and I had a couple people say the season doesn't start till September, blah blah blah. I get to see turf time. I get to, you start to feel it. Even the preseason games are welcoming. When the Eagles are saying August 7th, you can come here and watch a live practice. That's when I believe football's just back, and I'm ready to hear this.
Are you going?
I want to go, so I just gotta make sure my plans are good. But I just wish they went back to what's it called? Lehigh, bro.
Bring it back. Listen, I am literally less than 5 minutes from there. And it's just a hill and down. That's it.
I'm glad it's closer to me. Shit.
Yeah. But if you're going on the 7th, or if anyone is going on the 7th, I and multiple Eagles content creators will be there. Listen, I'm serving up burgers and brats. Come through. Yeah, I'm serving up.
Of course, my ass ain't going till later because I ain't gonna be getting cooked.
Well,
like the glizzies you got.
I might have to bring a tent or something. I don't know how much space I'll be able to get, how many people there, but I'm trying to be there early around 12 or 1.
Get a
So
20
again,
man.
if anyone's going to that open practice, you gotta be there. I'm serving burgers and brats. Come through. But let's go forward.
Bring your JJ Whiteside with you.
Oh boy, bring the
Your
umbrellas.
umbrella.
Exactly, bring the umbrellas. But last season, one of our leaders were lost in Brandon Graham. He had an Achilles injury. He was the heart and soul of that defense. We took a step back when we lost him. But this offseason, we've seen that, he's been doing his thing, getting back into shape. And recently it's been said that, Graham looks smooth. He's fully recovered from his Achilles injury, and there's said to be no limitations. So he's a full go for practice. Let me get your thoughts on his availability.
Yeah, well, I think he's coming back with like kind of a like a revenge tour. I feel like he feels like a lot of people are counting him out. He said multiple times now that this is not his last year. Whether the Eagles and him can work something out for the future, that's neither here or there at this time. But he said if worse came to worse, like he feels that he wants to play multiple seasons and will look to maybe move on from the Eagles if that was the only option. However, I think that we have enough.
Is that you, Vic?
What the echo?
Yeah, there's an echo.
Yeah, I just heard it too at the end. But I don't know. We haven't enough pieces around him to kind of limit him if it needs to be, but I don't think so. I think that he recovered very well. You see him in the gym, working, grinding. I'm ready to see what he has, and I believe, did he ever get double digit sacks? I think his closest was 9, right?
9. Well, no, wait. He did have 1 year when he was 10. The year that before he got signed, before he got resigned, I think he had 10 sacks.
But the year he made a Pro Bowl was 9, right?
Yeah.
I feel like he can have if the snaps are given to him and he can handle it. I think he can have one of them type seasons again. But I do think the Eagles early on should and will rotate him, because now that you got him back, is it him and Sweat when Reddick is playing that outside linebacker spot? If Reddick is blitzing on the side, is it Reddick and Sweat on the other side? Like, how much are they gonna rotate Graham in and out? And we do got Barnett on his team, which he shouldn't get no starting minutes for sure, but I think he'll get rotated in too. So between Barnett, Sweat, Graham, even Williams maybe rotating out there. And then you got Reddick, whether he's playing on the line, off the line, using them in that package. If they switch up the fronts, I think you can, I think you could see a very positive Brandon Graham to where we feel comfortable giving him some more time, because he's not an every down pass rusher now, but he starts to play more of that, 3rd and 8. Graham, you're in, because you're one of them guys that when push comes to shove, you want on your squad side,
Yeah, definitely. Listen, Brandon Graham, like I said, is the heart and soul. He's the guy that's going to teach these young rookies, the way that they have to do their thing, and he's very needed. I'm happy that we got him. He was the guy that when he was drafted, there were so many people upset at that draft pick. I was one of them. I needed to take an hour walk afterwards. We even had Thomas on the board, but slowly but surely, Brandon Graham has made himself a keystone to this Eagles defense. He's made himself a keystone to Philadelphia in general. You mean, like, he's one of our guys. He was the guy that helped us get that Super Bowl win. You mean, like, he's become an integral part of the team. So him coming back is going to be awesome. Now, let me ask. Now, hold on. That was a quote. I'm going to leave you a quote with that was said before from Brandon Graham. And he said, "I still got the burn on the inside. I love this game. I feel like for me, I just want to make sure I'm enjoying every day. I'm excited to help the boys because I really got a bunch of great players this year." Now, what are your thoughts on Brandon Graham? And do you think he will be that veteran that we need, that guy that'll pass the torch down to the next guy coming up?
Yeah, I think that he's a very humble guy, and although he knows it's a business, and he knows that if these guys underneath him show that they are deserving of a contract, then we most likely could end up moving on from BG, depending on how his productivity level is. But I think he even said it to D Gunn and on Sports Take before. He's all for making his team better. He's 100% Eagle in and out, and he understands that he's older and he is coming off of ACL, and no matter what he says right now, he says he wants to keep playing, whether it's the Eagles or the NFL. He knows that one more big injury could really end it all. So I think that the more he offers for these guys on and off the field, the more they play, the more they can expand his career, whether it's for the Eagles or for another team. I mean, you've seen pass rushers be that guy. Like I said, if he ever goes into a Chris Long role, and if he goes there early enough, he could be doing this still for a couple more years instead of just putting all his eggs in one basket to go out there and, break himself for the team. At the end of the day, he's the type of guy who will do that if needed. But I think he looks around his defensive end room and just the D-line room in general, and he feels good about it. And that's why he's speaking the way he is. I think he's seeing what he's about to offer the young guys and what the young guys are going to provide that is going to enhance, to keep his game, give that longevity to his game. And hopefully, if he plays the role right, where he plays, say he cuts his snaps down 15 to 20%, he's still productive, then I don't see a reason why, if I'm an Eagle, if I'm in the organization, Howie Roseman, blah, 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 that we don't find a way to make it work in the upcoming years for whatever he wants.
Yeah. Let me ask you the question then, because, you said he could be, that veteran that we need. What are you expecting him production-wise on the field this season?
And that's where it gets hard, because if he takes a step back, I would like to still see him around 5-6 sacks. I think you get 5-6 sacks while taking a step back. That's a very productive season. You're talking about a guy who played full time and got 9. And a lot of people just look at sacks. Brandon Graham is a key addition, a key part of how we used to be one of the best teams against the run, right? Fletch, he can't get to the quarterback no more. Brandon Graham, he only gets 6, 7, 8 sacks a season. Well, when they both are on a team together, we're always top 5 in stopping the run. Early last season, the way we were using Fletch outside of the middle of the defense, Brandon Graham not being there, we were getting beat down via the run until they started changing things up and bringing guys in and letting Fletch be him. So stopping and run is a key part of being a good defensive team. And Graham doesn't get credit for sealing the outside as much as he does. So 6 sacks, 5-6 sacks is a great year. If he's taken 10, 15, 20% step back, that would be lovely.
Yeah, it would be.
Because Reddick about to get like a 12 piece right there. So add 6
He's
to
a little
Reddick's
mad.
12. Add 6 to Reddick's 12, see what Sweat does in, and I'm not gonna make no Barnett bets.
I'm about to say, why are we on that subject? Well, we won't make a bet. We'll do this. We won't make a bet. But let me just get your prediction. What do you think his sack total will be when it's all said and done?
3.
You still give him 3. That's what's up. But aside of Barnett, and like I said, training camp
cost you
starts off tomorrow. Yeah, right. What player are you most excited to see in training camp?
Yeah. It's hard because defensively you don't really get to see much, because I think it's harder to show out in camp on the defensive side, because hitting is the biggest part of the game, right? Being physical, deflecting the ball, like you have to really give it up to the offense. That's why when people say, "Oh, this guy's getting beat all the time," I think if the offense ain't winning, there's a problem, because the biggest part of defense is being physical, and you can't do that. So I'm gonna have to keep it to the offensive side of the ball, and I would like to hear good things from just the receiving core in general. And I'm going past AJ Brown and Devontae Smith because I feel confident about them. I just want to hear, the other guys. Pascal is here for a reason. Quez is continuing to grow, and Rager is doing something, whether it's getting his trade value up. I just would like to see the receiving core be everything we want it to be, because that is a position that we've lacked for multiple years. And, yes, the quarterback has the play and how good the receivers do, but I just want the receivers to be just winning at the line of scrimmage, making it where, like, does it really matter what quarterback's throwing the ball, because these guys are just winning at the point of attack and making guys, like, especially the joint practices, making Cleveland defenders and whatnot, even though it's unfair for the defense over there. But, again, we're going against a couple good defensive back tandems, and Denzel Ward and the boys over there in Brownville, and then Xavier Howard and the boys in Miamiville, so I can't wait to see how all the wide receivers shape up.
Yeah, the wide receivers are going to have a tough task. It's a good thing that, we added up some ammo to that position. But let me ask, what position battle are you looking most forward to this training camp?
I have to go. I'm gonna have to stay. Oh, I'm gonna have to now stay on the defensive side, and because there's just so many linebackers, I think that is just the one that I think a lot of people are keen on. I think you can kind of pinpoint who wins what other spots. I think there's still some under the radar type battles. With like I said, the 3, 4, 5 wide receivers, some of the young DBs, if they get a chance to go on, who's the next up on the list. But that linebacking room, I could see it being so many different ways because I still do believe in Davion Taylor if he can stay healthy and show. So I think the linebacking room is just going to be something that, if everything pans out the way I think it is, I kind of can guess who it's going to be. But look, I'm not sleeping on TJ. I'm not sleeping on Davion, and definitely not sleeping on 2 additions. So, and I think it's harder because Reddick is going to be on the field as a linebacker. Whether we have 4 linebackers on, if we're playing a 3-4, he's on as a linebacker, but he's rushing the passer. So then you still get 3 more linebackers. But when we play that 4-3 and he's as a linebacker, now you got 2 spots with 4 guys who actually all showed that at one, if they play up to their potential, they can deserve it. So it's 2 spots for 4 guys, and that's gonna be a tough one.
Definitely. But let's talk about, this past season. We had a move. We moved on from Zach Ertz. We, put Dallas Goedert at the number 1 spot. And, we don't have anyone else for at the time being in that number 2. So who do you think can step up into that number 2 tight end spot?
I think the Eagles will feel most comfortable right away with just saying, "Hey, Jack Stoll, you've been here, you've been doing good in spot starts as and third." I don't know where Richard Rodgers is. I don't know if he's banged up or not. I know that the Eagles always keep him on call, right? They let him go, they bring him back, they let him go, bring him back. Over reliable, but I think Jack Stoll will get the first nod at it. I'm taking Grant Casatera to eventually win that job. I don't see JJ Arcega-Whiteside doing anything.
No.
I mean, hey, I'm not against him at all. Whoever, if he can show something, he can show something. I'm just not gonna bet that. I think Grant Casatera is a guy who could do big things if he can just stay healthy and keep his head right in the sense of concussions and whatnot. Right. But right now, I think the Jack Stoll has the foot in as number 2. And I think that they're only going to use number 2 as that blocking guy. Again, I think we want to get away from 12-man personnel in the sense of if we're going, when we pass the ball and when we're if everything goes accordingly and we become that 60-40 and we can get the passing game going, I think you want to be 11 personnel. I think it gets the most speed and most athleticism on the field. But I think Jack Stoll in 12 personnel, you use him as the blocker, Goddard as the pass catching tight end, and I think it's still a solid duo.
Yeah, and
Goddard can block too, man.
Oh, he's one of the best.
When
you combine them,
we can flip it around.
It is. Yeah, like right now, if you just say who's probably just a better, athletic wide receiver, tight end, Pitts or Goddard, Pitts all day. But I think when you ask the tight end spot, you got to count a little bit. I know that they're going away and it's going to be more of a passing tight end league sooner rather than later. But when you add pass, receiving and blocking, that's where Dallas Goedert makes his money, and he's a monster. And that's what
he's all around.
A guy like Kittle, yeah.
Yeah, definitely. Listen, we got some moves to make. Jackson, he was injured. When he comes back, we'll see what happens. But Calcaterra is a guy that I like. I think he's still a little raw. He needs to work on his blocking. He needs to still work on, his route running. But, that's the guy that, he's the pass catching tight end. He's one of Jalen Hurts' former teammates. I think that's another reason why they made that move.
He kind of a little like Ertz.
I'm not gonna stop you. I'm gonna hold you from that one. He does kind of remind you of Ertz, just like when he came in. Ertz needed a lot of help.
He said he kind of mimicked his game off him too. So
Ertz definitely wasn't. Even at his best, he wasn't. Goddard's already a better blocker than Ertz ever was.
Oh, absolutely.
But Ertz, he would try. He wouldn't give up. But he just he wasn't that guy.
He could catch though.
Yeah, he was a beast. Great route runner. Great.
The only problem with him was he just dropped after he caught the ball. He didn't want to get hit.
Earlier in his career, he was a little bit better, but later, Zach was no yak Zach. It is, but you need a first down, 8 yards, he got you.
Yep.
Hey, I still remember those summers where they would have Ertz in front of the jug machines after practice for how long? So like I think a lot of people have that revisionist memory. They only remember the good times. They don't remember the buildup of how Ertz became
Right.
the player he is now. He's a great
Right.
player now, but it never started off that way.
Yeah, he
Practice
shared.
makes perfect.
Yep.
Yep.
Practically perfect. And yeah, he came in and he had Brent Selleck in front of him, and Brent Selleck wasn't like a world beater, but he was a high quality, a fundamental block when he needs to, catch the right passes, not gonna wow you down the field. But I guess according to LaShawn McCoy, Brent Selleck put the move on Nandi Asawa.
Oh my god, that was hilarious. Do you know how heartbreaking it is to hear after the fact? It was like, yo, from the gate, first practice, we knew it was over.
I would have loved that report right then and there, so I could brought my expectations a lot lower. But yo, real quick though, Clay Harbor, who I had on the channel before too, he quote tweeted that and said, "Look, Shady, you wrong, bro. That wasn't Selleck. He said it was him."
Oh,
So Clay Harbor quote tweeted that because I said LaShawn McCoy said it was Brent Selleck who beat him in OTAs in the practice.
yeah.
And Clay Harbor quote tweeted it and said it wasn't him. It wasn't tight end, but it was me. So I'm gonna get to the bottom of that sooner rather than later.
Not all white guys look the same.
I will give it the time. Clay was faster. Had some speed. He was good in them cuts.
Clay also, after he quoted it, he put an article that he said, by no means am I saying I'm better than Selleck, but he showed the article of that time where it was like Clay Harbor having his best OTAs of yet. What can he be? So he said maybe I didn't get to get much field time, but I was a beast at practice. He said.
Definitely. Let me ask you a question because last season, we had some issues at wide receiver, mainly with our number 2 guy, Jalen Rager. There were some times where we saw flashes that he could be a good receiver, and there were times where it was a layup and he would just drop the ball. But this offseason, it looks like, the Eagles and Jalen Rager have had an issue. They have a little falling out. Now, from what has been reported, looks like the Eagles are in the process of seeking a trade for Rager. Do you believe that's something that can be done?
I think not now. I think it would have to be a full camp. You would have to have nothing but good things said about him, meaning he would have to do good because not many reporters, they're not going to just make it up. So he would have to have a good camp. There would have to be some type of some team that is worried about
of him and pushing him up and trying to sell that guy.
You're gonna need to do all that.
My god, he's gonna need some help.
He's gonna need another one of these one-handed catches. No, I'm just kidding. No. He's gonna have a solid camp, but that's not all that's gonna need to be done. I think that there's gonna be a team out there that would have to have problems with their receiver core, whether it's this guy is not who we thought he was either. This guy had got injured, and I don't wish injury on nobody, but you would need something like that. For a team to be like, dang, man, we probably can use Rager. Let's go ahead and give the Philadelphia Eagles a call. If I'm
Dallas was interested.
Yeah, here comes the injuries, right? Now they're saying that Gallup won't be back until December, November. So,
I didn't hear that.
Yeah. So that is why the Cowboys are possibly going to figure something out the wide receiver position. But I think that's what it would take for a team to go out there and do it. But there are going to be coordinators that say, okay, every coordinator thinks that they can make this player work with their scheme and their coach and blah, 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 blah. So we saw Nelson Aguilar leave and he's not a world beater, but he made some okay plays for Las Vegas and for New England last year. So, I think it would have to be after training camp. It would be closer to the start of the season, but we're not getting much back. We just clearing up some money.
Hey, we talked about it before. We're gonna have to make that money work because there's a lot of deals that are coming up. But let me ask you a question. So if we don't move on from Rager, we all know what we've done in the offseason. We got AJ Brown, we have the Slim Reaper, we ended up getting Pascal, and we have Watkins. If Rager doesn't get traded, where does he fit on this team?
Getting some more water for me at this point, but I think yeah, man, he would have to be that fifth guy. And how many times did the fifth guy get on the field? Barely. I think you'd probably see him in a grand total of 5 snaps a game, if that. I think
Maybe
that,
taking Ward's job,
yeah, I
which
think
is
so.
sad. Which is sad.
Yeah,
Because he's a
production wise, Ward has been more productive. But from the sense of the organization looking at it, I mean, Ward barely got on the field last year,
right?
And we ain't have Pascal and AJ. So I think he'll be that fifth spot. I think he'll be happy to see 5 or 6 snaps a game. What he does with it is neither here or there, because say he's in a game and he catches a 60-yard touchdown, I am going to clap. I'm going to congratulate him on that 60-yard touchdown. However, when the game is continuing, I'm not going to say, oh, let's take out this guy for him. No. You got the touchdown. That's cool. You know what I mean? Go about your business, because there's never going to be a time where I'm like, I think we should have Reagor over AJ, or Reagor over Devontae, or Reagor even over Quez. One good play is not going to make me do that. But what it could do is possibly look at the NFL, open their eyes to him and say, wow, this kid does have talent. Maybe he went through a mental problem in Philly. It's not that easy to play over here. And we want to go ahead and trade for him because we have an opening at the wide receiver position where he's buried on a depth chart. So I think you could even see if Reagor gets traded, he's going to need a really good camp, and he might even need some games stacked up where he has 6 to 10 snaps per game and he does something with them, and then something happens to a team's wide receiver room where they go ahead and make that before the trade deadline or something along them lines. But no matter, there's not a thing he does that's going to make me say he can do it consistently where I'm saying, oh, take this guy out for him. Maybe he does something really good in week 1 and week 2 where he jumps up past Pascal. Even that's an uphill battle. But it's 5 to 6 snaps, if that.
And the one thing that could have kept, Reagor in good favor is good special teams play. And that's something that we haven't really seen, as you said, consistently.
Bro, he's bad at it, actually.
Just
body language, attitude, like trying to fill the punt that's like smack. Like, what is going on with this guy? And that he
was doing reverse things that he was supposed to. You know what I mean? Like fielding the punt, he shouldn't have punted. Like field it, and then letting punts go that he shouldn't have let go.
Definitely. Listen, there's another player on the squad that took a lot of flack this offseason. Especially when it comes to being on the field and durability. And by that, I mean Miles Sanders. We all know, he's been pretty much a punching bag this offseason. He's been getting a lot of hate. A lot of people have been saying, and I've said it the most, the best ability is availability. We all know that, that's been an issue, and it's nothing from him. It's nothing on him. That's football. Any given Sunday, you can be taking out the game. That's just the way it goes. But let me ask you a question. Do you think Miles Sanders can be a reliable lead back?
I think he could. There's no evidence to say that he can be there that long and do that. His body just hasn't held up. I think when you look at him skill-wise, talent-wise, just natural weight and running ability, yes, I think he, he has the same body type as LaShawn McCoy did, and he was able to carry 30 times a game. Not every game, but there were games where he got 30 to 28, 30 runs a game, and he made the most of them. He has the body type, so I think he can, but I won't bet it. He hasn't proven it, and that's the main part of his problem. And then last year he added in some bonehead mistakes with just like falling in bounds when he shouldn't, going out of bounds when he shouldn't, and stuff like that. So this is the make or break season for him. I think it's lose type season for him, because if he does show out and show that he can be a top 5 back, Eagles are not going to pay him top 5 money. And if he doesn't, well, now we're going to move on because he just still can't get it done. So I think that it's a lose to be an Eagle next year, unless something perfect happens where he's really good, but he takes a discount, blah, 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 blah. But if he's really good, it's going to be a win for him, because some team will pay him. There is an organization out there that needs a running back or trying to sell tickets, and they like his swagger, and they'll give him the money. But I just don't see, unless it's a perfect scenario, him signing with the Eagles for a team-friendly deal. I just don't see how it can get done because of the Eagles' mindset when it comes to running backs and how you can get him in the later rounds and what we believe in Kenny G, Boston Scott, other guys who are just picking up just to have bodies back there. So I love Sanders. I think that, sooner, I think one time before his career is done, he's going to have that season like, this is what we thought he could be for multiple years. Yep. I just don't know if it's going to be this year or with the Eagles.
Right.
Well, it sounds like you're pretty much on the fence on Sanders. I know you think that he's a good player, but there are some issues. So then let me get you. Go ahead.
I don't think he'll be back here next year. But I think right now, if you ask me, he's going to get he should get the biggest opportunity to be the lead back this year. I think if we give him the opportunity, depending on how his body can hold up, he could do it. But I don't think he'll be back next year. Unfortunately, I don't.
All right. So then let me gauge your where you're at with this. Let me gauge your rating. How confident are you in Miles Sanders going into this season?
He scores a touchdown week 1. They just get that out there, right? He's scoring a touchdown.
Hey, he didn't do any last year.
Yeah, exactly. He didn't get none at all. That's why he definitely needs to get the ball in, and I believe it. That is a bet I'm willing to take. That's gonna be my first prop bet. Come Sunday morning when season opens up. But I think he's going to have a decent year. Listen, he went on a John Clark podcast, which I know is the NBC podcast, I know is somehow what is said on there can easily get back to the organization and Nick Sirianni. And he simply said he needs more opportunities. He's saying that, the way John Clark was talking, like, wow, you average 5 yards per carry your whole career, doing it for 3 years in a row. You're on a list with this guy and this guy and this guy, but how come it hasn't really worked all together? And he's like, well, opportunities, what I mean? And so he really made it. He really was bold with this to say that give me the ball and I will be able to be a better player. Again, he got to stay on the field. However, he was really confident and really somewhat cocky and somewhat demanding in the sense that he has no choice to be the best version of himself this year. Even when asked about the receiving game, he was like, I didn't have my rookie season for no reason. I can still catch. And it was crazy because the way John Clark asked him, it was like he was treating Miles Sanders like a little kid. He was like, so you've been working on things. Have you been working on catching the ball? Like, really catching it? And he's like, bro, I can still catch. What do you mean? You know what I mean? Now Sanders did have some easy drops, some easy things. So yeah. I understand why John Clark would say it, but he did say it in that way. And I think that Sanders, like I said, I think he's gonna be productive for us, but it's not gonna equate to him being an Eagle next year unless he just loves the midnight green and he works it out with us.
Yeah. Listen, it like I said, it seems as though Miles Sanders has been getting disrespected this whole offseason. I don't see why. I don't get it. Like, I understand, the guy hasn't been on the field much, but again, that's not anything that he can control. He can't control not getting injured. Again, I understand that, when we're in the red zone, Sanders doesn't get the ball, he doesn't score. That's something that we need more of. We need to rely on him more. But to get the amount of hate and the disrespect that he's been getting this year, I find it wild.
Yeah, but don't you find it wild that he missed games, but how do you play 12? What do you play? 12 games?
Yeah.
How do you not have a touchdown?
Well,
now I understand Jalen Hurts had 10 touchdowns. Okay, cool. How did Boston Scott get a touchdown? How did Kenneth Gainwell get a touchdown? How did Jordan Howard get a touchdown? My thing is this. Miles Sanders had more touches than Gainwell, more touches than Howard, more touches than Scott. Yes, all our running backs are going to get less touchdowns because of how we utilize Hurts in the red zone and whatnot. But how did every running back on the roster that had less touches than you get more touchdowns than you? And again, it comes to opportunities, but there's Nick Sirianni, some reason, feels some type of way with Sanders in the red zone where he's not putting him on the field. And if he doesn't get the opportunities, then he can't be who we thought he is. And if you ask me, I'm kind of concerned because I do think that this organization, Sirianni, don't trust him. And right there can be the disconnect where there's no way there's no way we offer him a contract that's going to work both ways because Sirianni's like, we don't need him.
Listen, if anyone that is my age remembers, I definitely feel that Miles Sanders got the varsity blues treatment. When we got in the red zone, give it over to Hurts. Let him take care of it. Or try to pass it. Get it to Goddard. Get it to Hurts. It was never, let's focus on Miles. Again, whatever the relationship between Sirianni and Sanders is, we don't know. It seems like there may be an issue when you're not going to your lead back, especially in the red zone. You don't want to throw interceptions. You don't want to give up the ball. You give it to your guy.
I
And
think
he
I
wasn't
remember a
getting those
couple of
looks.
times though that he did have the ball and he didn't get it in.
He get it
That
down
might
to
be
the
the
one, and
reason.
then they put Gainwell in.
Right?
Yeah, yo, definitely.
He get a touchdown week 1 though. Mark my
All right.
words.
All right. I'm gonna hold you to that, Mike.
But
Well,
everybody put $20 on it. We all cashing out.
oh, definitely. We can do that. We can do that, definitely. But speaking of Kenny Gainwell, yesterday he had a tweet. Gainwell tweeted yesterday, ain't never been this ready my entire life. Year 2 on the way. Now, let me ask you, we've seen the confidence. We've seen him last season. He showed flashes. There were times where they had to hold him back. But what do you think about Kenny Gainwell going into this season? Do you think Kenny Gainwell can take over the number 2 position?
Oh, I think that he got the number 2 position in lock. I think he's coming for that number 1 spot. That's what I think he's trying to come for. Listen to this though. So Kenny G had 107 touches last year, and on 40 of them, he scored a touchdown or got a first down. That's 37.3% of his plays resulted in a first down or a touchdown. That to me is a guy who knows who again, limited opportunities, but made the most of them. When the ball's in his hands, good things happen, whether that is receiving or rushing. I didn't say 107 rushes. I said 107 touches because he caught the ball out of the backfield for multiple first downs and touchdowns and stuff like that. But 107 touches and 40 first down or touchdowns is the guy who I want to get the ball in his hand because good things happen. Whether, again, run, receiving, it's neither here or there, but I think he deserved as a rookie, 5th rounder, being that productive on that minimum, that amount of opportunities. You gotta get the ball to him more. Some way, somehow.
Gainwell is tough, man. Gainwell is tough.
Listen, he fared better than our last 5th round running back in Wendell Smallwood.
But yo, Memphis got dogs like both Antonio Gibson and he wasn't a 5th round pick. Gibson went in the 2nd or 3rd?
Yeah, D'Angelo Williams, Memphis product. Memphis always has good running backs. You know, they turn out good.
And listen, he's Fletcher's cousin, so you know he got dog in him. Like,
right?
You know what I mean? Like he got dog in him, and so I'm definitely excited. I think that's number 2 spot is locked. I think he's trying to get that number 1 spot, and Miles knows that. That's why Miles said, "I need more opportunities. Stop giving the ball to Gainwell."
Well, thank you, because that leads me to my next question, my guy. You know, we great minds think alike. So let me ask you then: do you think Kenneth Gainwell will challenge Sanders for that?
Here we go.
Come on, my guy.
Oh, Lord. Listen, I am still a big believer in Sanders, but I think that every time Kenny G touches the ball, good things happen. And I think, I think Sirianni's going to do this more this season and ride the hot hand. And so I think that Sanders definitely gets the most opportunities, but don't let Kenny G get started because he can be the one who starts and then finishes certain games for us. But I do think by week 8, week 9, there's going to be so many hot topics or not by week 8. When's the trade deadline? Week 8-ish, right? So week 8, week 9-ish. So by week 6, there's going to be so many hot topics about possibly trading Miles because of how good Kenny Gainwell was. And this is a guy, I love Sanders, but I guarantee you I can see it now. Get the Philly Inquirer, get this, that, and the third are going to be saying, should the Eagles trade Miles at the deadline because of Kenny G? And I'm going to be hurt because I like Sanders. Like I said, I just don't see a happy ending in Midnight Green. I see hopefully for him in his career, but at the end of the day, I just want the best player. But Kenny G, to me, is going to challenge.
Mike, do you have a Sanders jersey?
No, I don't.
Okay.
And now I won't get one because I think it's
time
is
go. Yeah.
But listen, let Kenny G double what he did last year, I have to get the Kenny G jersey, number 14.
Right.
All right. So listen, I think Kenny got that dog mentality. I think that he will be fighting for some playing time. I don't think Sanders will be happy. I think it's going to be tough on him. Listen, we seen him last season in the beginning of the season. He was getting a lot of good looks. You know what I mean? Like he was the guy when you came in for a pass play. It was kind of like paint by numbers in a way, because if you knew you were going to pass the ball to the running back, Kenny G was in. If you knew you were going to run it, Sanders was in. So like they had some trust in the kid early on.
Listen, Paul just said that in 20. He says that he could see Gainwell having like 500 to 600 yards rushing and another like 400 to 500 pass receiving. If he gets over a grand total of 1,000, or he's or say by week 7 he's on pace to get that, Sanders about to be out. Because if he's getting that with the limited amount of opportunities, it's about to be a Rapsy Scabsy. But like I said, look, I think that teams will look at Miles Sanders and understand that a contract has to be negotiated and all that. Yeah.
Me too. It's okay. Me too.
It happens to all of us.
I got a Carson Wentz jersey upstairs.
Yeah. Oh man.
Yeah. That's why I'm about to get a J.J. White Giants jersey. Let me get that on.
You know he ain't going off the team.
I take one for the team. He get him up out of here. You know what I mean? But no, real talk though. I think that, if Sanders can show what we all know he can do, and Kenny G continues to grind, and you still feel confident Boston Scott, and say maybe one of these running backs and Kennedy Brooks or Jaquan Hardy shows up, or maybe whatever it is, then you might have the flexibility to say, hey, you move Miles for a 3rd round pick, 4th round pick. It's still quality. Like at the end of the day, you wouldn't want him to walk for nothing. But I think, running backs really only get one contract because they play on the rookie deal. They get paid once, and by the time it's time for another one, they're kind of beat up. And unless you are that really, really good running back, you're not going to get paid like that. And even if you do get paid like that, it's been proven to be bad. Like Zeke got paid for what he did. He's still good. He's still decent, but he's never going to be that Zeke. CMC is never going to be that CMC. The guy who can lead your team in receiving and rushing. He has that for maybe this season here is going to be a pretty good season of CMC, but then every other season after that is going to be less and less and less. And that's just what happens at the running back position. That's why they got the committee now and blah, blah, blah. But
yeah, they get beat up, man.
They get beat up. The tread.
Yeah, for running back, like you said, like they probably get 1, possibly 2 contracts. And if they get that contract, that means that they're a good player. I mean, let's be honest. They might
get another one, but like for a year or 2, they're not going to get that. Like if they're a really good player, like you get that 3 to 5 year deal. Okay, but then after that 3 to 5 year deal, after playing 8 years, maybe you can sign another deal for a year, but you're not getting that. You're not getting paid again. You're not getting that guaranteed money.
You get that contract that looks good with the money up front, but it's actually just a 1-year deal. That's what you're going to get.
Yeah.
But speaking about soured relationships between Sirianni and Sanders, let us focus on the relationship that we've seen, in the little bits and pieces between Sirianni and Hurts. Now, we talked about it before backstage, how the NFL Network has these little series of videos that they've been following Nick Sirianni around, and he's mic'd up, so you get to hear him and how he interacts with players. And we've seen him with Jalen Hurts, and apparently they have a handshake that, Sirianni said it's only something that, Hurts and his son knows. And, so let me ask you the question. What do you think about the relationship that we've seen between Coach Sirianni and Jalen Hurts?
I think it's genuine. I think they really believe in each other. I think that Sirianni knows what Jalen Hurts needs to work on, just like Jalen Hurts knows that, but he also knows what this guy can do from a playmaker and game changer, just athletically and physically. So, I think the bond there is legit. I think they're going to go to war together this year. I think that they both still feel like they got stuff to prove, in the sense that last year started out really rocky for Sirianni, and it ended really rocky for Jalen Hurts, in the sense of all the things we thought he was getting. He got better throughout the season, no doubt about it. You saw increments, right? Wasn't throwing left a little bit more, wasn't getting to the tight end a little bit more, not in the middle a little bit more, staying in the pocket a little bit better. He still ain't polished yet. All that being said, I think that both of them feel like Sirianni could have started better, Jalen could have finished better, and so they feel like they both are underdogish with stuff to prove. But you don't teach one guy on the team the handshake you do with your son if you don't believe in a guy and truly love him. So I know AJ Brown looked a little bit upset, like, I can't learn it. He's like, nah, you're not there yet. You know what I mean? So it definitely was funny though.
He was too slow.
That's not a handshake that you give to a guy who supposedly was going to get traded or get rid of, for the draft. That's not that handshake you give that guy. That's a handshake you got a guy that's going to be here for a while.
Yeah.
But let me ask you, when we're talking about Jalen Hurts, what are your expectations for him this season?
That's always a tough question because, like I said, you look at quarterbacks and they get graded differently. Do you want a quarterback that's going to have all the pretty stats, or do you want a quarterback that gets all the wins or as many wins as possible? I think that you have to have a combination of both. I mean, like, we all watch football, and I'm not saying we're coaches or gurus or nothing like this, but at the end of the day, when a throw is bad, you kind of know it, right? Now,
Yep.
were there implications? Was it the offensive line stepping on his foot, backing into him? Did he get this, that, and the third? Did the receiver do this, that, all that stuff? You could still see when someone is struggling. And so I think that he has to be able to be more consistent passer, put more pressure on the defense with his arm and being able to win close games when we need him to. At the end of the day, I still know that he's 23 years old. I think all the pressure we put on him with learning how to be, with all the reports that, his throwing motion and reading defenses he's been working on and doing all this, we expect him to come out week 1 against the Lions at 23, 24 years old and just never have another problem again. That is not what's going to happen. But I do want to see the progression get sped up a little bit. I want to see it more consistently, and that's it. If he can show he can be more consistent and we continue to win games and put things together, that is all I need to see. I do not need to see an MVP. I would love to, but I'm just saying that my expectations are not MVP, but they're not last year. He has to be in the middle of that. So I need to see the same steps he did last year, this year, but at a higher rate and more consistent. And then with that, I believe we get more wins because there's better talent around him. And that is enough for me to say, let's continue this thing.
Definitely. Like I've always said, the one thing I want to see out of Jalen Hurts, just like you said, is consistency. And also, I want to see him improve on what he did last season. And what I mean by that is not make the same mistakes that we did last season. That we improve on how everyone says his reading the defense. Basically, for Jalen Hurts, a lot of his issues were his mechanics. And that's something that, we've all heard that, he went in the offseason and he worked on that. And a lot of people saying that, his mechanics have totally changed. He's throwing the ball better, deeper, crisper. And then you have reports of others saying that, there was interceptions, all that. But all that aside, what I want to see out of Jalen Hurts is an improved player. Yeah. Basically, that's it. Like you said, I'm not trying to come in thinking that he's going to be an MVP because he has the squad that he has. It's not about that. I want to see consistent progression.
If he's 10% better than he was last year, we'd be good.
I need 20. Yep. Just 20. 20%.
Yeah,
I hear you, but
not week one, like you said. Both of you guys say I just need to see it progress. That you feel like by week he's getting better. Is there going to be a game where he makes a mistake? Yes, everybody does. I mean, let's be honest. Week 2 of this year, I think Aaron Rodgers played the Bucs or something. I think it was week 2 or 3, and I think he had like 3 interceptions, had like a quarterback rating of like 8. And guess what the articles were being? Is Aaron Rodgers done?
Because, is he washed up?
Yes. When a guy like Brady and Rodgers who's been doing it for so long, when they start out the gate a little bit rocky, the NFL headlines, they want to clip. They want to be the first one to say, "Is this guy done?" Because you saw Peyton Manning go off the cliff big time. At the end of the season when he won a Super Bowl with a defense. All that being said, that even the best of the best quarterbacks have a game where they look like trash. Mm-hmm. That's going to happen. I mean, you look at Brady last year. There was at least one game where he just looked out of sync. Same with Mahomes, same with Allen, same with Rodgers. But that's the difference. They only have one of them games.
Mahomes had a bad year last year.
Like that. And so who?
Mahomes had a bad year last year.
Bad for Mahomes standards.
Yes,
but not bad for.
I wouldn't say Mahomes had a terrible season or a bad year because he had career highs in passing yards, completion rating. He had a lot of career highs last season.
Yeah, the issue was his offensive
stats. But
I'm saying, hey, they got to the AFC Championship game.
They did, sure.
But again, I think it was the issue that he had with his offensive line. That was what set him and Burrow apart. Let's be honest. When we look at what happened last season, the one thing that set Joe Burrow and Patrick Mahomes apart was Joe Burrow was able to make do with what he had. And we all know he didn't have much on that offensive line.
Yeah, but the Bengals defense stepped up too, though. That Bengals defense was playing some good
ball. And that was another issue that the Chiefs had. They lacked on their defense, especially with with their defensive backfield. They lacked a lot on that.
And again, if I ask you guys right now, who were the top 4 pass rushers in the NFL last year? I don't think anybody's gonna say T-Rex, Hendrickson for the Bengals, but the dude, he was a monster last year. Double-digit sacks, very active. Nobody thinks about him as one of the top pass rushers because he doesn't got that Von Miller or that Aaron Donald name or blah 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 or T.J. Watt or Nick Bosa, Khalil Mack, but he was a top 5 guy last year. And he was on the Bengals low key because they have a small market. But just real quick, I agree with him in the sense that he didn't have a Pat Mahomes type season in the sense of what he's been doing. But there's still 26 quarterbacks or 24 quarterbacks that would die for that stat record.
Absolutely, absolutely.
So
yeah. And listen, we all know like the offensive line and the defense is what let that team down. Now Pat wasn't able to do what what he normally does is make it look fun, and he's playing backyard football. We saw that great game against the Bills. They were going back and forth. That, you know what I mean? But again, the Bengals just had a little bit more, like you said, their defense, they couldn't win it. But I think it was still a pretty good season for Pat Mahomes. I don't think it was terrible. I think for Pat Mahomes, he set the bar so high. If it's not a Super Bowl, it's not a good season.
Yeah, or not 50 touchdowns. You know what I mean? Like, again, Pat Mahomes is never going to have a bad season. He just might have he might be number 3 this year. Next year, he might be 4, and then he might be 2. Like, he might not every year be the number 1 quarterback, but he's never going to be outside top 5.
Yeah. Oh, I still got him at number 1. I still got him at number 1.
Like, even statistically, like, probably for the next 7 years, he's going to be like 1, 3, 5, 4, 3, 1, 2. But he's never going to be outside it, really. It's just who he is. He's a beast. But I am curious. I am curious to see how he does respond after having somewhat of a sloppy, mechanically year. Now loses Tyreek Hill. Let's just see.
It's a lot. There's a lot.
When is Andy Reid gonna hang it up? Maybe Andy Reid's getting. I don't want him to. He's in the AFC. Don't bother me. But you never know. You know what I mean? Like, and coaches, listen. The NFL is so dependent. Like, it's so crazy because your career could be labeled this, that, and a third off how you play in the early part of your career. And there's no sport like the NFL where it just matters where you are, who's around you. I'm talking from staff to coach to every player. Like, the quarterback needs the receiver to catch, need the offense line to block, need the right call from the coaching staff. It's just each player is dependent on so much, and it's just crazy how, that's why I don't really like to write nobody off the first 3 years of their career. But when you're doing stuff like Whiteside and Rager, where it's just like unexplainable stuff, it's like, bro, we got to.
Well, there's times where you no execution see that it's not going to work. Like, you see no improvement. You see them making the same mistakes, and you just, for that, you see what they are, and you can see it very fast. Guys that work on their craft, you'll notice differences to their game. But let's move on to the defense side of the ball. And what I think is the most important person on the defensive side of the ball. Do you believe Jonathan Gannon is, if not the biggest question mark for the defense this season or for the Eagles as a whole?
Hell yeah.
Yeah, I got to say it. I think that, what's keeping me a little sane is me continuing to put it as he had to play that way because he didn't have what he needed. I'm hoping that is the reason why we played so lax last year at times and just did things that were out of the normal Eagles element. I don't think he's ever going to be a Jim Johnson type blitzing a defensive coordinator, but I do think he can play more up, play more pressure, and be more aggressive as a caller, meaning not every down blitz or throwing 3 or 4, just be more exotic and be more deceiving to the offense and not being so bland and plain. And so all that stuff, I believe he has the tools now to do. But yes, going into it, me watching week 1 against the Detroit Lions, watching Jared Goff drop back, I'm going to be very curious. I'm not going to be worried. Oh, where's Bradberry? Where's Reddick? I'm going to be like, okay, what is Gannon about to do? That's going to be my first thought, and I can't deny it. But I do feel, well, maybe it's just the season coming in. I just feel like that we have a defensive group that you got to be able to put it together.
They just got to go ahead and hire Seth Joyner. You know what I'm saying, dude? They just gotta go do it.
I love his aggression.
He's on Jacob Media now. He getting them big bucks.
Yeah, right. He just got signed. He just got signed.
He said he
I don't
would
know if
do
he
it.
wants to take a pay cut right now.
No, he said he would do it.
Oh yeah.
Yeah,
Hey.
he said he would do it. He wait for Howie.
Well, yeah, we'll see. But let me ask you a question because it doesn't sound like you have all the trust in Coach Gannon. So, what's your confidence level from 1 to 10 in him going into the season?
Now this is again based off what I believe because of the pieces. Like before all these additions, just seeing it over and over and over, and me saying this is what he's gonna do. I could have recorded the same defensive take weeks 1 through 8 and just kept playing that on YouTube. I didn't though, but I sounded the same because of the players that he got. I'm gonna say 5.
So we're just
That's
down the
tough.
middle.
I
Just down. You're looking at him with a side eye. You're looking at him with a side eye.
Yeah.
So let me ask. We talked about Coach Gannon. Let's talk about the main guy. What are your expectations for Coach Sirianni this season?
Well, I expect Nick Sirianni to be more hands-on with the whole team. So if the defense is being obliterated with this much talent, I think that he jumps in early and has something to say, whether it's to tell him to change no matter what you want to do, or just be more vocal throughout the whole team. I think our special teams got sloppy. Well, receiving game has been sloppy, but like even Aaron Sipos was shanking punts at the end of the season. We couldn't pin nobody down. We couldn't run it back. So I just think Sirianni got to be. I think he's going to be more hands-on now that he's now a half a season removed from play calling. I think he's going to be more of the Dougie P type, where he starts to really get into these guys and be able to rally these guys and get them feeling how they need to be feeling. And I think then also that he learned a lot last year when it comes to just, really looking at what this team can do well and making a point of attack to go ahead and change up depending on who you're playing. Run 45 times against the Lions when they can't stop the run. Come back and throw the ball 32 times against a team that can't stop the pass. And so I think that Sirianni being able to, again, I don't like that it took 7 games to start running the ball. However,
that was tough.
Being a first-time head coach, giving up play calling is big to me in the sense that I think leashes are short on these coaches nowadays, and I think that egos are at an all-time high. And if you're gonna go out, you want to go out with you doing the play calling. So I think that's a very good sign in a guy who's humble and really only cares about this team benefiting and who's getting all the credit. And so I think that goes a long way with players in the locker room saying, man, this guy's not about him, he's about us. And I'm expecting a very good bounce back season where Sirianni is doing everything, but because of all of that, it translates to the play calling where it's not just Steichen calling it. It's just a collaborative effort, and then just things flowing because of how we feel about how he knows his team and what they can do now.
Yeah, definitely. And I definitely feel that statement with it being a collaborative effort. We won a championship with a brain trust of offensive coaching. That's what wins game. It's not that one single mindset. Some coaches have that. Sean McVay, a lot of people say he is, but he also has a lot of help in that coaching staff. There are a lot of input that they give him. So I think that, that's something that hopefully that we have. Like you said, last season it took a while for Coach Sirianni to get it going with the running game. It took for him to hear a lot of different voices. He was a little hard-headed, but he finally got it through. We seen that maybe he took a step back on that playoff game. But it is what it is. We've seen this offseason, he had the hubris to take a step back and say, I can't call these plays. It has to be Shane Steichen. I need to focus more on the game at hand. That's something that, you want out of your coaches. A lot of coaches, they won't have that mindset. They think that they can do it all. They'll keep on going forward and say, you know what? I'm going to call the plays. I'm going to do this. I'm the guy. It ends on me. And, at least Sirianni understands that it can't be all on him. He has a coaching staff for a reason. But let me ask you my last question, because I told you I'm only going to keep you for an hour and a half. Might go a little bit over. Apologize for that. But as a whole, what are your expectations for the team?
Super Bowl.
Super Bowl or bust, baby.
It's a wrap, man. We got an all-star team. But no, in all seriousness, I just want to see again the unit grow together. I think that there's, as much as we're going to start missing the guys who are going to leave after this season, I think that we got a really good group of players. We're going to learn a lot from this season. Expectations start with winning the division. I am a firm believer that we can. I don't think it's going to be easy. Yeah, I like the poo-poo on all the other teams. I do think this division got better. Not so much the Giants. I think that they're heading in the right way with management. I think they got their biggest problem was David Settleman. And then what a horrible coach Joe Judge was. So by just doing that, that team got better. I still think they're a ways away with talent because of Daniel Jones and some of the pieces there. I like their draft, but I think they got some ways to go offensively still. However, Washington is going to be a little bit better. Carson, believe what you want about him. I think he's still the best quarterback the Commanders have now had since probably Kirk Cousins.
Yep.
Dallas, I think, is going to be a 9, 10, 11 win team too. I just think that we're going to be a little bit ahead. I think when it's all said and done, it's going to be a game or two apart between the Eagles and the Cowboys. But I do expect to win the division, and then by winning the division, records start over. We'll see where we go, but winning a playoff game in year 2 of the rebuild in that exact way, year 1, you get to the playoffs, year 2, you win a game. Listen, I say now, just win a game in the playoffs. If we get there and win a game, forget that now. I want to keep going, but
that's right.
Far away, bird eye view, let's look at it that way, is to win a division. We didn't do that last year, and then win a playoff game. And right there shows that we are exactly where we need to be in this retool season.
Listen, I definitely agree. I think that, for this team, we need to win a playoff game because that's the only way that we can be better than what we were last year. If we win a division, that is great. I don't think we should have the mindset of just winning division because we should have something further than that. Let's win a playoff game. And just like you said, and if we do that, hey, we're working with free money here.
Yeah. But again, by winning the division, winning the playoff game, seeing all that and predicting that from a bird eye view, that means you're a pretty darn good team. And now we don't stop there. Now we want to keep the ball rolling because now we're right where we need to be, or we're as good as we thought we were. And then other people are going to see us as better than they thought we were. Because I still think there's a lot of people out there that think that all this off season is for show and that we're going to flop. I still think a lot of people believe that. I think that we've saw so many tabloids and USA Today's and outlets saying the Eagles might be the team that wins the NFC East. I think when it comes to day 1, September, blah, 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 when the season starts, I think there's going to still be more outlets, more lines favoring the Dallas Cowboys to win a division than the Eagles. I think it's just like hot take, hot hype throughout this no football time. But when it comes to it, where now there's no making hot takes, I think that a lot of people are still going to favor the Dallas Cowboys, not by much. We're going to be not the 6-win, 5-win team people thought we were going to be last year, which we
bigger audience.
Yeah. But we're going to, I still think they're going to still favor the Cowboys a little, but I still got us winning it. And I do feel really good about this season, man. It hinges on a couple things, but I feel good about it.
Yeah, I feel real good. And I totally agree with what you're saying with how they'll probably favor the Dallas Cowboys, which I don't know why.
Yeah.
We're talking about we're talking about 27 years and counting. And we're talking about they have a starting quarterback that has less playoff wins than Mark Sanchez. But yet they'll still get credit with a win. Yeah. Hey, listen, we all know the reason why they do that. Because let's be honest, Dallas Cowboys sell tickets. They're good at merchandising, and that's why they give them the leg up. Just like the Yankees. The Yankees are my favorite team. But the reason why they talk about it so much is because A, they won so many championships, and B, they sell so much. Yeah. That's why. They make a lot of money for their respective sport. So that's why they get that one up on us. But like I said, I won't hold you too long. I want to thank you for coming through, Philly Mike. Let everybody know where they can find you if they don't know already, which is wild if they don't.
Yeah, just type in Philly Mike on YouTube or the Philly Talk Podcast. Either one will bring you to the channel. Follow your boy on Twitter at Philly_Mike25. We just bull all day when it comes to Twitter. You know what I mean? And I love getting under the Cowboy fans. We attack them. We do it all season. I do it on purpose. Do it on purpose.
Yeah, man. Appreciate you for coming through and making the time out. JerryLee, let the good folks know at home where they can find you.
Well, you can find me here on the Big Ticket and on the Kelly Green Crew. Be there in about 30 minutes.
Yeah, everybody that's watching right now, if you can, like he said, my guy will be starting up in 30 minutes. Head on over to his channel. You know what I mean? Hit that subscribe button and the like. And if you could, while you're here now, please, I've checked out the data. A lot of y'all watch my show, but don't subscribe. So please, if you can, hit that subscribe button. Don't be lazy. It's just a little press of the button. Hit that
That's
like, and
it.
if you can,
Help
throw
a
a
brother
comment out
out.
there. Help out the algorithm. But again, Mike, I appreciate you for your time, my guy. It's been great chopping it up with you.
Thanks for
Hopefully,
coming,
we can
Mike.
have you on
Appreciate you,
again
brother.
short soon. But yeah, man, it has been another great episode of the Big Ticket. I'm your host, Vick3. That's my guy, JerryLee. That's
Fuck
Philly
the
Mike.
Cowboys.
Thank you. And we out.